Hello everyone, welcome to Untitled, a show that is dedicated to educate, uplift, and connect to all minority communities through the Haitian diaspora's point of view. And my first guest for today is Richardson Donnat. Richardson Donnat is an avid gun user, gun educator, and being Haitian, owning guns, and knowing everything about it, I found that very fascinating. Welcome to the show, Richardson. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and SoRich Tactical?
Appreciate it. First, I want to say thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And like you said, my name is Richardson, last name Donnat. Grew up in Haiti, currently live in the U.S., Arizona to be precise. And honestly, I just love guns. You know what I mean? I'm not in the military. I'm not a police officer or anything like that. But I felt that it was a necessity as an individual, as a family man, to have a means, to protect my family. And I feel like a lot of people, especially our Haitians, don't see it that way. So I decided to create an Instagram page to simply educate people on having guns, to show that there's a different aspect, there's a different side to an individual that owns a gun.
Nice.
SoRich Tactical.
Okay, nice. And just to let everyone know, yes, both of our names are Richardson. How that happened, I don't know, but when I found out, I thought that was really cool also. And we're both born and raised in Haiti. So let's kick this off. Why guns? Where did the love for guns start? Where did you get that from?
So honestly, I grew up in Haiti. I had the same concept: guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad. So when I moved to the States, it was a whole different perspective. Everyone thought of guns differently, but I was still, in my ways thinking guns are bad until 2014, I want to say, when one of my good friends took me out shooting for the first time. I was scared, but after I let off that first round, I was like, wow.
Wait, why were you scared?
I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to
Wait, you thought you were going to die or something, or they were going to kill you? Like what? Was it like a bunch of moon blood or something?
So basically, I don't know if you've ever been to a gun range, but when you walk in, you may have like 5, 4, 6, 10 different guys just shooting different guns, and it's loud, right?
Yeah.
And then you in one lane, and you're gonna shoot a pistol, and it's frightening. But after you let off that first round, you're like, well, this is not as bad as I thought. This is actually pretty exciting. So then after that, started going with them here and there. And then next thing you know, got a whole armory.
Is it like an adrenaline rush when you shoot it for the first time? Or is it an adrenaline rush every time you get on the gun range and you start shooting?
Every time.
Oh, really?
Start shooting every single time. It's like riding a motorcycle. It's like skydiving. Every time you do it, doesn't matter how many times you've done it, it's still that great feeling, if you're stressed, it's a great stress reliever. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
I wanted to ask you because, in the Haitian community, now I'm making a generalization, so, please, everyone forgive me, but I just want to, kind of get this out of the way. So I feel in our community, it's kind of like if you own a gun, it's either you're a police officer or you're a thug kind of attitude. There's not such thing as like, oh yeah, I own a gun because I like it and I want to know about it. I'm educated about it. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that is something we might need to change? Either you're a police officer or you're a thug, and you're neither. So from your experience.
Right, absolutely. And I think, I grew up with that same mentality, and it's based on what we've seen growing up. If we look at Haiti, for example, it is only the bourgeois and police officers that own guns. Well, we don't really see the bourgeois with guns because they don't walk around telling anybody. So the only other people we see are the thugs, like you mentioned, the bandits. So we have a bad experience in seeing people with guns. And also, I believe it was like in 1991 where the U.S. put an arms embargo on Haiti, which didn't allow, like, you can't just go to a shop and purchase a gun like you can.
For our audience members now, can you tell us what is an embargo?
So pretty much, it's there are certain type of firearms that an individual in Haiti cannot just walk into a gun store and buy. Matter of fact, there's no gun store where you can just go buy guns.
That's what I said. Like, I don't remember seeing any gun stores in Haiti.
Exactly. You can't even do that. So because of that, the only people we see with guns are people that obtains them illegally. So then we have this idea like, well, if somebody has a gun and they're not a police officer, because we don't even think about the rich, we only think about the police, and they're not a police officer. Well, obviously they obtained it illegally, because you can't legally go to a store or go to a gun store and buy a gun. So because of that, we've seen, the acts they've done with it, and it create this perspective that, hey, if somebody has a gun and they're not a police officer, they're a bad person. But if we look at the US, it's a whole different mindset. You can have doctors, lawyers, judges, all of them, are weapon lovers. They love guns and they go to the gun range with their friends every weekend, but you go see them and don't think of them as bad person.
What is it to love about a gun? Because I come from the school where, of course, I drank the Kool-Aid. Okay, my parents are like, no guns, it's bad, you will be a thug, you know what I mean? And they just, why get a gun? Like, if like a normal person, why would you recommend because you have a bunch of guns, why would you say to someone else, let's say a family of 4, you know what I mean? A mom, a dad, and 2 kids, or, just 2 partners, 2 kids. Why would you say for them, you know what, it might be something for you to think about from your personal point of view?
From my personal point of view, let's talk about the US, because that's where I'm at right now. If you look at first responders, their response time on average is about 9 to 10 minutes. Okay, and it takes a person about 5 seconds to break into your house.
Really? Mon cher. Is this fact or I'm just telling you jolly one bum?
This is fact. They can kick your door. Someone runs in and they can kick your door open. If you don't have extra security on your door, if you think about it, you just have a lock and maybe a bolt lock. A strong person could kick your door down in like 5 seconds. You know what
Something you could do though?
Absolutely. I could probably try.
Yeah. Wait, we say Lee jump. He be going to the gym now, so
You already know. So, so as a person, like you said, a family of 4, it is my responsibility to protect my family. It is my responsibility to protect myself. And if I'm going to just wait and call someone else to come do that for me, I have then taking my responsibility and placing it into someone else. Now, is it a necessity to own 10, 20, 15 guns? Probably not. But at least you have one in case you need it. It's like insurance. Hopefully you never use it. But if you come down to where it's like your family, yourself, or someone else that is breaking the law to put you and your family at harms, then hopefully you have the means to protect yourself.
Okay, all right, okay. I think I understand that. I could vibe with that. What was your first gun? What was it? And can you explain it to me as, someone that I don't know anything about guns? What was your first gun?
Right. So with guns, my first thought was that smaller is better, right? Easier to shoot, all that, which is not true. Smaller does not mean easier to shoot.
Oh, really?
Right? Right, because of support, you have recoil, which is when you fire the gun and it kind of kicks back and all that. So the smaller, sometimes it's bigger the kickback. So I got an MP Shield, 9mm, something, small that I could carry. And I bought that a few years ago that I could just have. And then I was shooting and I'm like, yo, this gun is pretty, it had a nice little kick to it, And ever since I was like, well, let me try other guns. And then you found out every gun kind of shoots different. The recoil on every gun is kind of different. And the longer or the shorter, there's different things you can do with different guns. And that's why, I started growing my armory, started buying more guns. So if I'm laying down, then I have a rifle. If I'm running courses, then I have a shorter pistol. If I'm doing transition, going from a pistol to a rifle, I have a strap. So it's a whole world out there of possibilities when it comes to guns.
Okay. Now, my other question for you is the Haitian community and guns. We already talked about either police or thug and all that good stuff. would you advertise or would you recommend that they should or we should really be looking more into gun education and why it's important to have one?
Absolutely. Education is key to everything. You know what I mean? I feel like we live in a world where, and I know this may sound a little off, but war is not uncommon.
No, it's
You
not.
see what I mean? Fighting is not uncommon. So to say to prepare for war may sound like, okay, what is this guy talking about? But it's happened in the past, and either if you believe in the Bible, there will be war. You know what I mean? So it's a possibility. So to prepare yourself, for us to prepare ourselves as a nation, because everyone else is preparing themselves. We don't want to be the only individuals, the only nation that's like, well, we didn't do any of that. We didn't do any preparation, even if we never have to use it. But at least we implement the structure that we need. If ever we need to fight, we have the means to do it.
So you would say you would recommend a Haitian family that's living in America to look into educating themselves more about guns and trying to see if maybe that's another form of security that they would need in their home?
Absolutely. Like the saying goes, when in Rome, do as Romans do. So if you're in the US and everyone around you are, buying guns and preparing for whatever, and you're like, these people are crazy, but you're living among them, maybe you should be the one also preparing yourself for whatever they may prepare, they're preparing for.
Okay.
It only makes sense.
Well, you're talking about the home now, right? So how safe it is to have a gun in your home? Because, a lot of times you hear the stories of the kids shooting themselves, kids finding the guns and all of that. And I saw on your page also, I believe you have a son, and you take him out to the gun range. Like,
Absolutely.
How does that work?
So I recently did a video on that, actually. It's on my page. It's about negligence, okay? So when it comes to guns, some people will say, well, it was an accidental discharge, where a lot of us gun owners actually say, well, it's more of negligent than it is accident. So, there are rules. There are things you follow when you have a gun. You always do your check. You know what I mean?
Can you run us through those checkpoints? I'd like to know what those checkpoints are.
Absolutely. So there are 4, I would say, golden rules when it comes to guns. One is you always assume that all guns are loaded. So if you're approaching a gun, you see it, doesn't matter, you assume that gun is loaded. So you handle it like it's a loaded gun, okay? The second thing is that you never put your finger on the trigger unless you have made the decision to shoot, okay? And the third one is never point the weapon at anything that you don't intend to destroy.
Oh.
Okay? And then the fourth thing is know your target and what's around, behind, on the side of it. Because once you press that trigger, you're then responsible for where that bullet lands. You know what I mean? So if you follow all those rules, then that lowers your chances of an accident happen. And if you're at home, you have kids, you always got to make sure your door is locked. You don't just say, well, I'm going to leave it locked and I'm going to run to the kitchen real quick and grab something. You make sure, it doesn't matter. If you're done, you lock it. Even if you got to do that 20 times, hey, at least you're taking the precautions that you need to prevent.
Now, do you lock it just in a room, or is there a safe that you lock it in, and then you lock it in like inside of a closet also, and then you lock your bedroom door, or what?
Well, that comes to preference. I have friends that just have a room that has a lock on it, and if you go into that room, then you have access. I have friends that have a safe inside of a closet. I have friends that have a safe under their bed. So it all depends. It's a preference. But as long as you make sure you're taking that extra step to make sure it's secure, that nobody can just walk in and grab the gun and use it. You know what I mean? So things like that. But for me, I feel having a safe inside of a closet is the best, especially like if it's your go-to gun. Meaning if something were to happen, that's the first gun you go for, then you have quick access to it, but it's still very secure.
Yeah. Now there's people out there that's going to say, well, why get a gun where you could get like a taser or something else? We shouldn't be killing people. We shouldn't be thinking about hurting other people. You will have people that think like that. What would you say to that? Because I think back in the day, I would have been one of those people, you know, sitting behind my computer or behind the TV, m'a jugé, vous comprenez? Puis ça, monsieur, a gagné exam comme ça, you know, like all this just nonsensical stuff, you know, just forcing my own, basically, forcing my own creativity, forcing my own reality onto yours. What would you say to someone like that?
Honestly, I would tell them, get that taser. Get it. You know, something is better than nothing.
Gotcha.
You know, you don't necessarily have to get a gun if you don't feel comfortable getting a gun. Get a taser, get a knife, get a dog, but just have an extra, you know, means of security. Not just if something happened, I'm gonna call the police, where you don't know how long it's gonna take for them to come. Gotcha. Your family first, you first. So get that taser. If that's what you feel comfortable doing, at least you have that protection.
Going to your son now, did you find it easy to teach him about guns? And what were the hardest parts of teaching him, you know, gun safety?
It's like this, as boys, right? We play with guns. It's just not real guns. We take sticks, we act like, you know, they're guns. So we already have that curiosity. And for me, it was, well, if I'm going to have guns in the house, I need to make sure whatever curiosity that my son has, I already kill it from the top. So, meaning, every time he sees the gun, he sees me with the gun, he's like, Dad, can I hold it? I always make sure what.
So now, talking about the home and your son and educating him about guns, how did you go about doing that?
Well, being a boy myself, I can remember when I was young, I played with guns. It just wasn't a real gun. You know, I had the stick or the water gun or whatever it may be. So as kids, they're very curious. And for me, what it was, again, with education, if I'm going to have guns around the house, I need to make sure I educate everyone in the home. And not only that, but to kill my son's curiosity. So that way, if I'm not home, or if he goes somewhere, you know, to a friend's house that has a gun, where he's not shocked by the idea of them having guns. So before
curious, he's not like, oh, let me just take it and just wave it around.
Exactly, exactly. So if I ever take him shooting, or if I'm ever cleaning the guns and he's like, Dad, can I hold it, or whatever it may be, I make sure before I let him hold it, I review all the full rules with them.
You know, I will say then, I think it's good because now that I think about it, because I'm like, we're in a world already where guns are becoming very popular, right? So the chances, you have what, 1 out of 4 households who has it or whichever. So the chances are you're gonna run into guns anyway. So, and you're not always going to be with your son, right? So I think that's really cool, educating them. And I think maybe we can open this up more for the Haitian community to, you know, at least be mindful and at least know the 4 rules, you know, about a gun. Or, you know, if someone stops you in the middle of the road and they're like, give me all your money, and they have a gun at you, what would you do? You know what I mean? What would I do? Like, tell me as a gun owner.
Well, for me, the first rule of survival is compliance when it comes to guns. So if I'm walking down the street, doesn't matter if I'm carrying or not, someone were to pull a gun on me and ask me for my wallet, I would turn around and give them my wallet. I would not try to be MacGyver and, you know, dodge bullets, you know, pull out none of that, honestly. I would just give them my wallet. I would not try to quickly pull out my gun if they already have the gun on me, because honestly, my wallet is just an object. I can replace that, you know? Exactly. So being a gun owner isn't like, you know, responsible gun owner, I should say, isn't someone that just walks around and flash their guns and try to pull the gun as quickly as they can to shoot another individual. It's just honestly we're people that are law-abiding citizens that understands that our protection is our responsibility. That is it.
Okay, that I like. Now, also now you said about something about carrying a gun on you, so I have a few questions about that. So can you just carry a gun anywhere in America on you? Or is there certain rules?
Yes and no. So basically, it is legal to carry. There are some states, like Arizona, for example, it's open carry state. So as long as you're of legal age, which I believe is 21, you go to a gun store, you fill out the form, which is a form called 4473. Okay, you fill out that form, they run a quick background check on you, everything is clear, you purchase a gun, you can then carry that gun on you, but what they call open carry, which is on your side or wherever, but it's visible.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's the difference. Now with concealed carry, which is where you can actually hide the gun, for that you need a permit.
Why is there a difference between the two?
Well, because if it's visible, then everybody knows you're already armed. Because now, when you conceal carry, you're taking the initiative to be a more responsible gun owner. What I mean by that is, just like us, when we see guns, we're like, okay, who is this person and why do they
Sure.
have a gun?
Is it a police
You know what I
officer
mean?
or a thug?
Exactly, exactly. So, because of that, then, if you were to be in a situation where you end up using your gun and you have your concealed carry permit, that shows the judge or wherever you go, because you're gonna go to court for that. It shows that, well, this person is just someone that just carries a gun to shoot people, but they actually a responsible gun owner. They took the time to take the class, to have the permit, just so they could protect themselves.
Okay. Now then, so I don't know any of this, right? So I'm thinking from all these different things that I've seen and heard on the news, how does the NRA play a part of this? Do you have to sign up for the NRA in order to purchase a gun? Or do you have to be part of the NRA in order to have a concealed or open carry? How does that work? No. And what is the NRA? In fact, no. First of all, what is the NRA? Like, you know what I mean? So for our audience members, so we can get like, a nice, decent little bit about that.
Right. So the NRA was formed in 1871, right? So basically, the best way I can explain it in layman's terms is it's a union for gun owners. You can be a member, you get support, lawyers and things like that. They support some candidate that supports the Second Amendment. So it's kind of like a little club, for gun owners. But to purchase a gun, no, you don't necessarily have to be a member of the NRA. As long as you're a law-abiding citizen, you have a clear background, you can go into a gun store and purchase the gun. To either open carry or concealed carry, you don't need to be a member. You just need to have a permit, and it'll be registered to whatever state that you're in, not so much the NRA.
Got it. Not to get into the NRA too much or anything, but is it do you don't have to have it, but would you recommend it? Because when you say a union protects you if something happens. Do you know what I mean? So if like an accident were to happen, do you get more protection from the NRA? They kind of help you more to understand what happened more? How does that work?
Pretty much, yes. The short answer to that. Yes. Me personally, I'm not a member of the NRA, but there are different type of union, you could say, for a gun, or a lot of different membership, like the USCCA, for example. You could be a member of that. There's also another one, I can't remember the name, but it's geared towards African American, that you could be a member of that. So there's multitude of
unions or ways
or union that you could join, but not necessarily directly you have to join the NRA.
Got it. Okay, so now my question is for you. Because you get a lot of people from online texting you or DMing you about your guns and what they see you doing. What is the question you get the most? From like Haitians.
From Haitians?
Yeah.
Yo, on a la même femme. I said, it's like, are you in the army or are you a police officer?
Yeah.
And those are the top questions I get. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Nah.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, if you live in Haiti, you're probably thinking like, how does this guy have all these guns? You know what I mean? Because it's a different reality than here. You know what I mean? You can't just go and purchase a gun. But yet in Haiti, you see all those kids now with those big old rifles, especially as of recently. And I'm asking myself, where are they getting these guns? You know what I mean? Like, it's very dangerous. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I ask myself the same question. But like you said, there's no gun manufacturer in Haiti. There's no gun range or gun store or anything like that. And last I checked, I don't know if any Haitians own cargo boats.
Yeah, so, I mean, we do. I think we do. I won't share. I don't know. No, I think we do. We do own cargo boats at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least. So, but it is a good question. I don't know if I'm in a position to answer that question, but I think it is something that we as the Haitian community should really ask ourselves and present that question to our elected officials.
Okay. My other question for you then that I have. So let's say if I have a gun, I bought a gun and I'm like, but I bought it and I gave it to somebody else. Is that legal or not legal?
That is, it's legal.
Okay.
It's legal. You can purchase a gun and gift it to someone else.
Okay.
But what's illegal is to purchase a gun with the intent of selling it to someone that may not be able to purchase a gun themselves.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay. Now, can I travel with that gun? Let's say I'm like, because, I don't want to promote this at all, but, a place like our country, Haiti, you know what I mean? Let's say I was like, I want to travel with it on me. Can I do that? And is that legal? Would the airplane lets me? Or do I need to get a special license for that? And once I get there, let's say I forget it there, what happens? Do I get charged or would I be criminalized?
No. So you can travel with your weapon. You can travel throughout the states, and you can go to Haiti with a weapon. Obviously, there are there are just formalities that you have to go through. You have to make sure you let them know that you are traveling with a weapon. It has to be locked, and the key has to stay on you. And you have to fill out form when you get to Haiti. You have to go through customs and all that. And if you so happen to forget the gun with a family member, okay, then you forgot the gun.
Oh,
There's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing that's going to happen to you because you forgot the gun.
And also, did you bring any guns to show us today? Because I'm kind of like you. I'm like he's sitting in front of a table. I'm like, are there guns around here? Because I'd like to see something. Do you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 400 you can show us?
Well, funny thing is, you say about guns. As gun owners, we don't just have guns. We also have little things like knives. Okay, because you may not always want to pull out your gun.
Gotcha.
Situation, if somebody's way close, very close to you, a gun may not do, the situation justice. So, things like having a knife, you know what I mean, also helps. And as far as guns,
I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at that knife and I was saying, man, that's nothing. But you pulled it out, I was like, oh, that could cook it.
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Yeah.
It's definitely something. For guns, so I'm gonna put you on game for a little bit. So if you ever hear the word EDC, like we're gun owners say EDC, that means everyday carry.
Everyday carry.
Exactly. That's the gun they carry every day. So we have this. Obviously, following the rules, guns always face down. So if I remove it from the holster, the muzzle's still down. I'm gonna make sure the gun is clear, right? Because I'm assuming the gun is loaded. So I'm removing the magazine. I'm gonna rack it 1 time. It's still pointing down. Rack it 2 times, and then lock it. Right. Make sure the gun is clear. So that's just me going through all the steps.
Yeah, I want to see it though. I can't see it in the camera.
I'll show you. So this is it.
Wow.
And so I had to make sure it's clear before I pointed towards the wall or the window.
Gotcha.
That's what happened there. This is the everyday carry. It's a Smith & Wesson.
I ain't gonna lie though, when you took the gun out already, my heart started a little bit. I was like, and you're like thousands of miles away. Yeah.
Right? It's not that bad. So a gun like this, like you said, like I said, you carry it, you just have it on you. There's no extra magazines or anything like that. It's just a gun to have for protection. Now you can also upgrade to another one, which I have. Now this right here is a little bit more. It's a little heavier. It's still, you still carry it on you. You can still conceal this under a jacket, under a shirt. You can't wear like fitted clothes, because then the imprint would show. But again, pointing down, making sure it's clear.
So to clear, you got to take out the magazine. You click it once, twice. What is the clicking that you're doing?
So basically, let me see if I can show you what it would do if. So this magazine right here, right? It has ammunition in it. So I'm gonna insert it. Right. So now this gun is loaded. Or you could say this gun's hot, right?
Okay, so you take out the magazine and you go clap, 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 clap. What does that do when you're clicking?
Right. So good question. That's a really good question. So like we said, we take out the magazine, right? So now we assume that the gun is clear. It's actually not, because once you rack it one time, bullet falls out. That was in the chamber. So there's always one in the chamber. Now it's still not cleared, right? Because I don't know. I didn't check. That I just did one rack that took away a bullet. So now I have to check and then visually inspect the gun to making sure it's clear. And those are the type of discipline that you got to have when you're a gun owner to prevent, negligent discharge. So yeah. So like I was saying, this is where's the holster? Gun's clear. So this one, it's about, the magazine holds 18 and 1, and then you have another extra mag. Well, the first one holds 8. So those are kind of like the difference.
Gotcha.
So depends on where you're going, depends on the type of shooter you are. You might want more ammo because you can never have too much ammo, or you can just carry something like this. Yeah. For home defense, now that's a little different.
How is that different? Why is that different?
When it comes to accuracy, when it comes to recoil, when it comes to support, when you're in a stressful situation, a handgun is not the most accurate.
How come? Is it because it shoots slower or something, or?
Because of the recoil, because you're nervous, you're shaking, so you're not aiming for where you actually need to aim. And then, like we said, the recoil, like if you look at somebody that's in a home, or the average person, they don't shoot every day, so they don't know what to expect unless putting in hours. Yeah. So to have something like this here. Oh. Right.
Oh, that's serious right there.
Actually, I don't know if you can see it, but
I can see it now. Yeah, that's perfect. Wow.
This is actually a 9mm. So the first gun I showed you and this one, they shoot the same bullet.
Really?
Okay. Right, but this one, let's see if I can turn a little bit here. I'll still keep it pointed down, although it's clear. So this one, it has the brace where you can use it a little bit more for support, or if somebody that is so the history behind the brace actually was created for people that are either injured or handicapped. It made it easier for them to shoot because they could, mine's pretty tight, but they could slide their hand through it and it becomes a brace. Right here. If I loosen this, it would have made it a lot easier, but here we go. So kind of like this.
Got it. Oh, I didn't know that.
Shoot it. Yeah, they could shoot it with one hand. So it helped because it's shorter. You can maneuver it better in close corners. If you're behind a wall, you don't have a long rifle, and you don't need a pistol because, like I said, in terms of accuracy, pistol or a handgun isn't the best.
Okay. Now, as far as SoRich Tactical, which is your company, I know we're selling shirts and we're doing all these things, and you're doing a lot of educational programs and educational you're answering people when they ask you questions. So let's say I wanted to, when is SoRich Tactical going to be open for the public? So like for me to be like, I'm going to Arizona, I know Richardson has his spot over there. I want to go to the gun range and support, a local Haitian business. When can I do that? I mean, we're under coronavirus now, so, we got to be, social distancing. Exactly. So I know you're not open now, but when will it be open for us to be able to do that?
Right. So, like you said, with the COVID-19, everything is kind of pushed back. So looking at next year in the summer, we're looking to offer more classes or more opportunities for people to train, for people to even get their CCW permit and all that. Right now, we're kind of doing more, one-on-one lessons. But come summer, we're hoping with COVID and everything that we'll be up and running and being able to maybe even do online classes, hopefully in Creole. So we have goals, and we definitely hope to reach them by summer of next year.
And now, would you say it's okay for me to tell all of our audience members that, if they ever need any questions about guns or they have some inquiries, they can ask you. They can be like, hey, go to your Instagram page, SoRich Tactical, and we'll have it posted also. So they can be like, hey, you know what? I have this issue with the gun, or I have this that I'm thinking about. What do you think?
Absolutely. One thing, about me is that I don't claim to know everything. Mm-hmm. But if I don't know something, I know how to find the answer. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Creole, English, doesn't matter. And then if I'm able to answer, I'll definitely. And if not, then I will definitely find the answer for them.
Okay, perfect. Now, we've talked about all this serious stuff, all this stuff. We come to this fun part of the show that I'm excited. Every guest, I always ask them to pick a Creole word of the day. And you got to tell us what the word means, and you got to use it in a sentence. Okay? And I'm going to try to do the same. So what is your word for today?
Oh, man. I'm going to go for it.
Go for it.
So,
listen, you can say whatever you want.
My favorite Haitian word, honestly, is "bon lamed," right?
How do you use that? How do you use that in a sentence? How do you use that?
I'll tell you. Yo, what's the garçon ça? It's Zamni game. We bon deal. Bon lamed.
Bon lamed. Oh, okay. Now listen. You know, sometimes you ask for words, people use, just normal ones, and sometimes they use the bad ones. This one might be like in between, So be careful who you use that word with, Bon Lamed. And we're going to type it down there. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Richardson, for sharing your knowledge with us, showing us your guns. And for everyone out there, we're going to have some clips for you to really be able to see what he does in a gun range, so we can give you some more information. And hopefully we can have you back on Unupali so we can talk to you about all the wonderful things that you're doing and see what your progress has been over the years. Hopefully by the summer, we'll get to maybe even show up there, okay? So on behalf of Moonlaka, on behalf of everyone on the Haitian community, thank you so much for your education. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there. And if anyone ever want to have any questions about guns, if you have any questions about guns, please feel free to reach out to Richardson. He'll try his best to connect you with the best possible sources for you to get the most information that you need. Thank you so much for watching Untitled Chapter. Thank you so much, Richardson.
Thank you for having me.
All right.